Allocations for health and other sectors in the 2017-2018 national budget likely to be increased. The tourism minister says it's time to call out stakeholders to provide less than satisfactory service to the visitors. And a lawsuit against the DFA for the 2013 death of Noran John Hope has been dismissed. I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. The details coming up. First up, significant increases expected in the upcoming budget to cater to requests to deal with the rising cost of treatment for cancer and other non-communicable diseases. Prime Minister Skerrit says the Ministry of Health has requested an additional $5 million for procurement of medicine. Speaking at a town hall meeting in Wharton Waven Wednesday night, Mr. Skerrit said government recognizes that these drugs are critical to the well-being of patients.
Part of this request is that a number of people who are suffering from various forms of cancer, the medication you buy, the hospital will give it to you for free. So the government is now going to take a decision. So those of you who are suffering from diabetes and cancer, to make those drugs available to our citizens free of charge.
The Ministry of Health is not the only department requesting larger budget allocations.
Solid waste is asking for more money because most of you in Dominica are not managing your waste properly. You want to send everything to the government to pick up for you and to take to lab baths, when half of it could stay in your backyard, in a compost. So I have now to increase the budget for solid waste. Education is asking for more money. And one of the issues now with education is that the CXC is now going to have examinations online. And the Ministry of Education, the government now must buy computers for every secondary school in Dominica. So we now have to go and buy new computers and have centers established with recurrent costs, because you can't have a computer room and it's closed and you're not maintaining it. You need to have staff to maintain it. You need to have people to fix them if they get bad. So there is not only going to be a capital cost to this request, there's going to have to be a recurrent cost.
In other news, the Minister for Tourism says serious measures must be taken to deal with stakeholders in the tourism business who are giving visitors a negative impression of the country. Speaking to residents at a town hall meeting in Wharton Waven Wednesday night, Mr. Tong gave an example of taxi operators who try to cut corners when taking visitors around. He believes these individuals should be called out.
And a member here actually was telling me about it. I said, do me a favor, go back to that area and just make sure what you told me is not true. And she said, you know something, some of the bus drivers, they will hustle some of the visitors, rush them to the top of the hill and show them the waterfall far away and say to them, that's the waterfall. This is the tour that you paid for. And unfortunately, the government of Dominica has not fixed the road, so you can't go over there, so I have to take you back. Now just imagine the score that person is going to give us when they go back on that ship. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we've changed and we've upgraded the laws, the tourism regulations. But the challenge I have right now is that many of us are afraid to report the persons who are giving us the bad reputation.
The minister says very few may be involved in that practice, but that's all it takes to give Dominica a bad name. The minister says 2017-2018 promises to be a fantastic year for Dominica and the cruise tourism stakeholders.
Last year we had 275,000 people. This year we're expecting 422,000 people to Dominica. Last year we had 160 vessels. This year it's going to be 225 vessels. So that is 65 more vessels coming to Dominica. Ladies and gentlemen, we are working very smart and hard for you. But as I said, we must ensure that when persons come to Dominica, we work properly.
More top stories now. The High Court has dismissed a civil lawsuit by Corinthia John Hope against the Dominica Football Association in relation to the death of her son. John Hope sued the DFA 3 years after the 2013 accident at Pont-Cassé, which claimed the life of her son, footballer Noran John Hope, and coach Kurt Hector. They were on their way to meet their teammates en route to St. Vincent to compete in the Windward Islands football tournament. Through her lawyer, David Bruni, Corinthia, in her statement of claim, says the DFA, by its representative, arranged for the said Noran Corey John Hope to be transported from La Plaine to Roseau aboard the motor vehicle of national coach Anthony Kurt Hector. Kurt Hector was the driver. According to Corinthia's claim form, the defendant, by its representatives, failed to ensure that the said vehicle was subject to full comprehensive insurance. Attorney Gina Dyer Monroe represented the DFA in the matter. And in its efforts to ensure high-quality water resource for Dominicans, especially during heavy rainfall and high turbidity, the country's water company is developing a water safety plan to come into effect by the end of the year. In June 2016, a regional consultation was held with PAHO, CAFA, DOWASCO, and the Environmental Health Department on the formulation of a water safety plan for Dominica. A water safety plan is a preventative approach developed by the World Health Organization on how to manage water from the catchment to the consumer to ensure consumers get potable water. The plan also ensures that water is used in a sustainable manner and there is a reduced risk of waterborne illnesses. Speaking to Channel 5 News, Water Resource Officer with DOWASCO, Louis Alfred, explained that currently the water safety plan is in its information gathering process stage.
Currently, we're at the background collection stage, collecting background data. So far, we have data on water quality, we have data on rainfall, we have data from the Ministry of Health on gastrointestinal illness, which is usually linked to waterborne illnesses. And we're putting all of this together to try to identify the gaps and to form some links to see where we are, what needs to be done, and how we get there. Things have been on hold from CAFA's end, but hopefully before the end of the year, we should have a completed plan.
Alfred says following the development of the water safety plan for Water Catchment Area 1, which covers Mero to Castle Comfort, the plan will be tweaked for the other water catchment areas around the island.
After the completion of the plan, I guess we'll look at it, see our shortcomings, any pitfalls that we had, and then adjust it accordingly to each water area, because a water safety plan has to be adjusted. The risks you might find in one water area might not be the same in the others. The general basis will be the same, but the risks you might have, for example, in one water area, you might have the risk of pollution from farming practices, and you might not have that in another water area. So it needs to be replicated accordingly. As to how long that might take, we're not too sure, because we have a lot of water areas. We have 44 of them to cover, so it might take a while.
Though the water safety plan is still in its development stages, Alfred has words of advice for the Dominica public on how to ensure water safety.
We know turbidity is always an issue, seeing that we get our water from the rivers. There's nothing any of us can do to stop that. So it's always good to have water stored up. Always a good idea to fill your pails, fill your barrels, clean water, adding a bit of bleach to it to ensure that it remains safe. Boiling the water before you drink in it. All of these are some ways that you could help to protect yourself. And add a little bit to your own water safety plan on your own.
You're watching Channel 5 News. Coming up, a facelift for Campbell Primary. Thank you for staying with us. Labour Commissioner Dr. Matthew Leblanc says while the law allows employees to take industrial action, people must be mindful that a dispute must be declared. Dr. Leblanc was responding to a question by Channel 5 News concerning the ideal time for employees to take strike action against their employer. He said any form of industrial action must be guided by the law.
The law strictly outlines the conditions under which a strike or a stick-out, a lockout or whatever it is, industrial action can be taken. And where negotiation is ongoing, the law does not really allow for industrial action. Persons may do whatever they want. They may take whatever decision they want, but whether the decision is legitimate in law is another question. The law allows for strike. Our law permits strike, but the law permits and allows for strike after it appears that the law intends that every means should have been exhausted.
LeBlanc explained exhausting all efforts would mean to use up every possible process towards resolving the situation.
If there is a dispute and the matter is being negotiated, the parties are engaging to resolve it, there is no need for industrial action. If the parties are not satisfied, then they can write to the minister and make a complaint and declare dispute. The minister has to take certain actions to engage using the Labor Department and all his resources to try to bring the matter to a solution. So the law allows for some sort of industrial action, for example, strike, after you have gone to that extent.
LeBlanc says there will be repercussions if the action is taken without ensuring that all the conditions of the law are met. On to education now, where the Rotary Club of Dominica has looked to its partner club in Ottawa, Canada, to provide a facelift for the Campbell Primary School's library and a computer room. The project cost in excess of $40,000. The official handing over took place on Wednesday. The incoming governor for Rotary Clubs in Dominica, Marvin Birmingham, says their helping hand to the school was in response to the impact of the 2015 tropical storm Erica.
At first, we thought that we wanted to secure the premises by building a wall. However, upon reflection and discussion with the school principal, the teachers, and the education officer with responsibility for this school, a different set of priorities were discussed. So they pointed out to us that this retaining wall that we are thinking of would be best handled by central government because it would be very involved. But instead, we should look at the learning environment and help to upgrade the learning environment.
The needs identified by the school principal and education officer for the West include upgrading the computer room and refurbishing the library.
We purchased 6 brand new computers, desktop computers as was requested. The 5 computer tables and 10 chairs, 1 printer, an LCD projector, a movable screen. We had to repaint the walls. We had to do some new electrical installation, and we replaced the floor tiles. So what has happened with the reading room? Again, we had to do some painting of the walls and the window grids. We had new bookshelves built for the books, a floor mat and pillows for the children to spend time reading lying down. I hope they don't fall asleep. And of course, we were able to purchase some reading books as well. The estimated cost of the project was $42,624.
Meantime, principal of the Campbell Primary School, Hilda Abraham, says a decline in the school population is concerning. The school is operating with 31 students and 4 teachers. 7 students sat the Grade 6 National Assessment recently. The school's principal told Channel 5 News when she first took up the job 2 years ago, there were more students, but she says several factors have caused the decline.
We had 40 plus, but most of them left for secondary school. So every year it's kind of decreasing, but then with the aid of the preschool, it kind of helps the primary school. People are not really making any more children, and most of the people, there were some children, but they have migrated to other villages, so that has also helped the decreasing factor in the school.
Is it a concern for you, though, the decline in school population?
Yes, it is. Because sooner or later we don't know what's going to happen, but then God is in control of all things, we don't know what He's going to do.
Abraham says the impact of storm conditions have also caused people to leave the community. She acknowledged the small school population, however, does have its advantages.
It's a good environment, it's quiet, the children are very well behaved, and they do well in their reading, children are reading at 100%. So I think the little children, not so many children, though the teacher has a lot of time to really mold them and know where they are weak and help them in that area.
Well, that's news. Your sports highlights next with Kenny Williams.
On the basketball scene, Detroit Blazers and the Massey United Insurance Sharks dominated Division I games in action from the 2017 Flow DABA League on Wednesday. In the Blazers versus Paybush Snipers game, Blazers won 72-57. Jason Lee contributed 21 points for Blazers, with Stern Defo 15, Nathan Sebastian and Peter Simon 11 points each, and Von Vidal 10. For Snipers, Shannon Matthew had a game high of 23 points with 16 from Killoy Paul. In another match, Sharks finished 23 points ahead to win the match 57-26 against the Lindomart X-Men. Top scorers for Sharks were Chambly Blanc 14 and Robert Geist 10 points. Alec Laza and Cornell Linton added 10 points each. Meantime, the league continues with a Premier and Division I match on Friday. At 7, Sports Division Inter-School will be looking for another win when they take on PSC Falcons in the First Division. Then at 9, we will see newcomers to the Premier League Police Sports Club in action when they come up against the veteran Detroit Blazers team. Both games are scheduled for the Massac Hard Court. On the local cricket scene, a combination of Majid Peltier and Tyrese LeBlanc was a menace to the Portsmouth Secondary School team to help St. Mary's Academy take first innings points in the first domestic insurance schools under-15 cricket championships on Wednesday. SMA won the toss and elected to field. PSS batting first were bowled out for 58 runs. Tyrese LeBlanc bagged 4 for 20, Kyron Phillip 3 for 12, and Majid Peltier 3 for 18. In reply, SMA scored 187 for 8, with 74 from Majid Peltier, Kyron Phillip 53, and Yannick Josiah 33. Quinton Hillier picked up 4 for 53, and Jed Joseph 3 for 67. Meantime, Atkinson Primary topped day 1 of the Eastern District Schools Festival on Wednesday. Atkinson finished first with 6 points, followed by Salibia 3. Siniku and Concord finished on 0 points each. Atkinson defeated Siniku and Salibia. Salibia defeated Concord. Day 2 of the Eastern District will continue on Monday at Jolly John Park at 10 a.m. Siniku Primary was last year's runner-up, while the Atkinson Primary is the defending champions. Next up, President of the Dominica Cycling Association, Ronald Charles, is reiterating the call for road users to display a level of courtesy on the road. His comments as the local governing body on the sport prepares for a second warm-up race leading up to the July 2 OECS Cycling Championships here.
That we would like road users to be aware of. Sunday the 11th of June, 2017, we're having this race. It starts at 9 o'clock in the morning. Persons and road users, please show some courtesy or show some courtesy for the cyclists who will be using that route. So we really trying to reach out to the drivers of motor vehicles. When you see the cyclists, it's not just about cutting in front of them or because we want to mitigate or we want to prevent any of accidents and so forth. So we are begging you that once the road race is on, you're aware of the times, you're aware of the route. We are really on our knees to say, please extend some courtesy to the cyclists, because we do not want anybody to get injured. We don't want anybody to get hurt because of some accidents or some persons not being aware of the race being on.
He says there has also been a change of route for the 2017 OECS Cycling Championships.
Decided to put the race to the 2nd of July, where it is much quiet and we would have less of that road activity. And therefore, we're also saying the issue of safety. If you recall our last event, the Massac area is a little bit it's a little bit of concern, because you're looking at about 30 to 40 riders coming from the OECS countries, to name Antigua, Anguilla, and so forth. And we do not want that area to be congested with so many cyclists, and next thing there may be some issues as it relates to vehicles and so forth and so forth. So we chose the longer route, which is that from the Roseau or the Pottersville Savannah area to Cabrit's entrance, turn and back into back to Roseau. So we're looking forward to this new route. Our cyclists, that is our national team, have been training on this route and trying to get used and accustomed with it. So this is one of the main reasons for this.
The second warm-up race is carded for Sunday and runs from the Pottersville Savannah to Cabrit's entrance and back for the senior team, while the women and juniors will have a shorter route to cover. The race begins at 9 a.m. And in track and field, Dominica Amateur Athletics Association will host its annual national championships at Windsor Park Sports Stadium on Sunday. The competition will feature competitions in the under 18 and 18 plus women and men categories.
The Dominica Amateur Athletic Association would like to inform all affiliates and the general public that on Sunday, June 11th, 2017, the association will be hosting its annual national championships at the Windsor Park Stadium from 9:30 a.m. At the championship, there will be two main age categories, which is the under 18 boys and girls and the 18 plus men and women. There's also the inclusion of the under 13 and under 15 age group, where these athletes will be doing the combined events as preparations are underway for Dominica to make representation at the NACAC age group championships to be held in Trinidad later this month. The general public and all are urged to come and support these young athletes as well as our top senior athletes as they vie for the title of national junior national champion.
That's all the sporting highlights for now. I am Kenny Williams. Join us next time.
We now join our friends at the Met Office for your weather report.
Good evening. Welcome to the weather report and forecast. I am Viola Pascal. At the low to mid levels, a high pressure system continues to dominate across the area. However, at the upper levels, a persistent trough continues to maintain some multi-layered clouds across the eastern Caribbean. The visible satellite imagery showed that Dominica experienced mainly cirriform clouds throughout today. The radar imagery indicated a few scattered showers mainly across the northern portion of the island chain. For tonight, expect fair to partly cloudy conditions with some brief showers. For tomorrow, partly cloudy conditions with a few scattered showers. Winds are expected to come from the east at about 35 kilometers per hour. For the marine forecast, seas are expected to be moderate with waves peaking near 7 feet. Over the next 3 days, expect partly cloudy skies with a few scattered showers on Friday and Saturday and a slight increase in cloudiness on Sunday. Across the Caribbean, expect partly cloudy to cloudy conditions with a few scattered showers. For the international cities forecast, expect partly cloudy skies in New York, some thunder showers in Miami, partly cloudy skies in London and Caracas with a few showers, and clear skies in Beijing. The sun will rise at 5:34 a.m. and set at 6:35 p.m. For further information, call the weather hotline of 447-5555 or visit the website weather.gov.dm. Thanks for viewing. Do have a good evening.
To end the news, the headlines again. Allocations for health and other sectors in the 2017-2018 national budget likely to be increased. The tourism minister says it's time to call out stakeholders who provide less than satisfactory service to the visitor. And a lawsuit against the DFA for the 2013 death of Nora and John Hope has been dismissed. Feel free to contact us at news@MarpinNews8thJune2k17. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris, and to our viewers around the world, thank you for watching.